now we come to balance sheet analysis. And remember friends, as valuer, as professional valuer, as business valuation professional, every one of us need to have a very good handle on the financial statement analysis. We have looked at the profitability analysis already. We have looked at balance sheet analysis in part. So when I say we have looked at the balance sheet analysis in part, that means we have looked at the return on capital employed, we have looked at return on investment, and we have also looked at the return on equity already. One thing that I would like to mention, ratio analysis can be done in many ways, and the ratios can be categorized again in many ways. So the return on capital employed, a return on investment, a return on equity. Now these three ratios that we discussed the other day are the ratios which link the balance sheet and the P&L. But there are certain ratios like your
economic value added,
like your debt equity ratio and like your current ratio. Now current ratio and the debt equity ratio are computed, calculated, arrived at from the balance sheet itself. So for calculating your debt equity ratio, for calculating your return on, calculating your current ratio, you do not have to go out of the balance sheet. You get the numbers in the balance sheet itself. Let us first look at the first ratio, which is the current ratio. All of us now are quite familiar as to what is the current assets. We are also quite familiar as to what are the current liabilities. So how do I calculate my current ratio? And all of you please pay attention. How do I calculate my current ratio? Total of the current assets divided by the total of current liabilities. That will give me my current ratio. So my question to all of you, please pay attention. My current assets are 200. My current liabilities are 100. What is my current ratio, everyone?
2 is to 1.
2 is to 1. Okay. 2 is to 1. So is it a good ratio or bad ratio? Everybody?
Good.
It's a good ratio. It's a good ratio. Why it is a good ratio? Because as a company, I have got liquid assets which are twice the size of my current liabilities. That means as a company, I have the ability, I have the capability of taking care of my current liabilities. So the current ratio, friends, is also known as liquidity ratio. So current ratio tells you how liquid this company is. So when I say how liquid this company is, it also means what is the ability of this company to take care of its short-term obligations. So that is, friend, your current ratio. Is it clear to everybody?
Yes.
Okay. Now remember, I also want to give you one more dimension. And okay, remember, this point that I am discussing with you, you will not find it in the books on financial management. The point that I am discussing with you is what you will find with all the CFOs in the whole world. Now please pay attention and give me the answer. Earlier my current assets were 200 and my current liabilities were 100. After 1 year, my current assets have gone down to 150 and my current liabilities are still 100 crore. What is my current ratio?
1.5 is to 1.
Everyone, 1.5. So you say current ratio is 1.5. Now all of you, so 1 year back my current ratio was 2. 1 year down the line it has come down to 1.5. All of you please pay attention and tell me good sign or bad sign.
Bad sign, sir. Good sign. Good sign. Good sign.
Good sign.
Good
good sign.
Surya, good sign or bad sign?
Not good sign, sir.
Not good sign? Okay, Venkat? Good sign or bad sign?
Depends on the composition.
Okay, so you take it normal composition. Normal
And
composition.
then depends on the industry's requirement standard.
Okay.
No, initially, you have two current asset and one current liability.
Hmm.
It is good.
Mm-hmm.
Now it is only 1.5.
Hmm.
If in the case of 2,
Hmm.
if some bad thing happen,
Hmm.
again after discounting,
Hmm.
you will be in a position to set off pay your liability.
Hmm.
If it come to 1.5,
Hmm.
probably there is a risk that you may not be in a position to pay your current liability at all.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, all of you please pay attention. All of you please pay attention. If the current ratio of a company has gone down from, okay, let me ask you a different question before I come to that point. All of you please pay attention and tell me, as a business,
Probably you are not collecting money from your creditors properly.
creditors or debtors?
Debtors properly.
Okay. Okay.
In turn, you are not able to pay your creditors.
Okay.
So that means what? You are not able to collect money from debtors properly.
All right.
But you have to see the aging of your debtors.
Oh.
Is it gone up or
No. Basically, it is either inventory or cash on hand or debtors which has moved up and down.
one by one,
That movement is what is to be studied.
Yes,
Each
that is true.
combination of current asset has to
That
be
is-
cross-verified and studied.
Okay.
It is not only on
There are
debtors.
something which is benefit. 1.5 to 1 can be still beneficial.
Yes.
If in that 1.5 cash is 100.
Yes,
That
Venkat.
figure can be paid across cash and still we have 50, whether it is receivable or inventory. Otherwise, so basically what is moved inside is what is to be checked.
Okay, friends, let me simplify it for you. Please pay attention, just be with me for a few seconds. Let me simplify it for you. As a business, will you like your inventories to be high or will you like your inventories to be low? Everyone. Low? Sure? Sure?
Oh, a growing market, growing order book, inventory will be high.
Yeah, okay. So,
Like a CFO.
yes, Venkat.
On a growing market with growing order book, inventory will be high consistently.
Yeah, but okay, very good
So it
point.
depends on the industry trend, the company's trend.
But my question, Venkat, is as a CFO, even if your business is increasing, will you like your inventories to go down or go up?
Yes, sir, it depends on my order book and the components.
Okay, your order book is good. Your order book is
The
good.
inventory will increase.
It will increase. It will increase. But as a CFO, will you be happy if it goes down or will you not be happy if it goes down?
You will be happy if it goes down, sir.
Yeah, you will be happy. Okay, very good. Very good.
That's why all the automobile companies or all the sub-vendors they're keeping nearby only to maintain just-in-time inventory.
Absolutely.
They don't want to maintain inventory more.
Absolutely.
It's a concept.
True.
So that is basically because the customer wants just in time for his order chain book, for his consumption belt.
Yes. Yes.
We'll get all the answers.
Okay. Now my second question. Will you, as a business, will you like your receivables to be high or will you like your receivables to be low?
That should be low.
Low.
All right. So are you sure of your answers?
That should be low.
That should be low. Now please tell
It
me.
can be medium, but in the receivable should be low.
Low, right. So now please tell me, if your current ratio has gone down from 2 to 1.5, it means your inventory has gone down or gone up?
I don't know. It can be inventory, it can be receivable, it can be cash.
Yeah, both. Okay, all three. Okay. So I'm asking one by one. So does it mean your inventory has gone up or gone down?
Down.
Gone down. Your receivables have gone up or gone down?
So we cannot judge like that, sir. It is
No, not necessarily. necessarily. Not necessarily. Inventory and this can increase, cash on hand can drastically go down.
All right. Okay, Venkat, three of them put together have gone up or gone down?
Gone down.
Gone down. So now please pay attention. All of you said that you would like your inventory to go down. All of you said you would like your receivables to go down. All of you said you would like your cash balance to go down. So if you want all of them to go down, so you should be happy when your current ratio is coming down from 2 to 1.5. Because if your current ratio is coming down from 2 to 1.5, what does it tell you? It tells you that your inventory has gone down. Your
Inventory should go down, receivable should go down, but cash should increase. So if the creditors are getting 1-to-1, that is good, irrespective of the fall or increase in the receivable and inventory.
right.
So if inventory goes down by 25,
Yeah.
receivable goes down by 25, my cash increases from 50 to 100.
Yes.
And 1.5 to 1 is very good.
Correct.
Because I can pay the creditors irrespective of the situation of the other two of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, friends, that is what you need to remember, because I am discussing this point purposely because
Liquidity ratio.
I am discussing this point purposely because most people think that the current ratio must be high. Please remember, in today's world, high current ratio is not a good sign. If a company is, and please pay attention, if a company is able to bring its current assets down and still run the operations and make profit, it is a sign of operational efficiency. So when you are analyzing the balance sheet of an entity for whom you are doing valuation, and if this company is making profit and the current ratio has gone down, remember, you do not have to worry about. And please pay attention, all of you. Surya, please pay attention. Remember, you do not pay to your creditors by selling your raw material. You pay to your creditors from the cash that you generate from your operations. So merely having a high inventory does not mean that you have a better capability to pay your creditors. Your better ability to pay your creditors will come from how much profit you are making. So friends, that is one thing that you need to remember as far as the current ratio is concerned. We have discussed EVA already. So what is EVA? I am sure all of you would remember, return on capital employed minus the cost of capital employed. That is your EVA. So this
Sir, we have not discussed EVA, sir. You skipped at that time, sir.
Okay, if I think I discussed that actually. I discussed that, Ankit, but no, not to worry. For your benefit, I will do it once again. So, what is EVA? EVA is economic value added. And how do you find out the EVA? From the return on capital employed, you minus the cost of capital employed. And what you get, the difference is your EVA. So this figure should be positive. If this figure is positive, you are creating value. If this figure is negative, you are destroying value. Let me give you an example. All of you, please pay attention. Ankit, give me the answer. The return on capital employed of a company is 12%. Return on capital employed of a company is 12%. And the cost of capital employed is 10%. Is this company creating value or destroying value? Ankit.
Yes, sir. Creating value, sir.
How much?
So 2%.
2%. The return on capital employed, Sanjay, please give me the answer this time. The return on capital employed is 12%. And the cost of capital employed is 15%. Is this company creating value or destroying value?
No, sir, it's a destroying value.
Destroying value. How much value it is destroying? 3%. Now friends, please pay attention, all of you. Many times you would have seen and noticed that sometimes company is making profit, but the price of the share on the stock market is going down. And why is that? It is because the EVA analysis is adverse. Company is making profit. That is why ROC is coming positive. But the cost of capital is higher than the return on capital employed. So if the all of you please pay attention, if the return on capital employed is less than the cost of capital employed, you are not creating value, you are destroying value. And if you destroy value, you will not get any value from the shareholders. And why? Because who will put money into your company when you are destroying value? Only somebody who want to commit financial suicide. He only would like to he only would like to uh, uh, he only would like to uh, invest money into a company where the EVA is negative. Okay, so this is, friends, your EVA. Anil, any question on this?
Sir, sir, in case of startup companies,
Yeah.
normally initially they are all loss making.
Hmm.
So the EVA, there is no EVA in the initial for 5-6 years.
Yeah. Okay.
So how can we justify that?
No, very good. Anil, that's a very good point. That's a very good point. Obviously, not only startup, any new company which anybody starts anywhere in the world, they don't start making profit from the very first year. It takes them some time before they start making profit. So initially, of course, the EVA is going to be negative. But please remember, when you are looking at the negative, when you are looking at the EVA, you are not essentially looking at the EVA as it stands today. You will also look at the going forward perspective. So in case of a startup, if you want to look at the EVA, you will look at when the company starts making profit. So and please remember, all of you, whenever you are doing valuation, you don't look at the current situation only, rather you look at the futuristic situation. That is why you use the discounted cash flow, and that is why you use the future earnings. So that is the answer to your question, Anil. Don't worry about it if it is negative, because obviously वो कंपनी चालू ही अभी हुआ है, तो उसको कहाँ से EVA पॉजिटिव होगा. So not to worry about it actually. All right. And then of course finally, friends, you have a debt equity ratio. And what is a debt equity ratio? Debt equity ratio is you take your debt, and please remember, when you are calculating the debt equity ratio, you will always take the long term debt. Long term debt. So take the amount of the long term debt, divided it by the equity, and what you get is your debt equity ratio. For example, if your debt is 200 crore and your equity is 100 crore, you will get a debt equity ratio of 2:1. What is the significance of the debt equity ratio? The significance of the debt equity ratio, it gives you an idea about the financial risk of a business. And pay attention, if a company, Ritesh, if a company is having a debt equity ratio of 2:1 and its EBITDA is weak, good sign or bad sign? Everybody.
That sign, sir.
It's a bad sign. It's a bad sign, because if your debt equity ratio is high, that means you have too much of debt on your balance sheet. And whereas your EBITDA is weak, that means you do not have enough cash. Then that means you do not have enough cash for servicing the debt. And that is the financial risk. So that is the significance of debt equity ratio. So theoretically, if you read a book on financial management, it would say that ideally a company should have a debt equity ratio of 2:1. But if you really ask me, I would say do not look at the debt equity ratio only. Look at the debt equity ratio together with the EBITDA. If EBITDA is good, that means company is generating enough cash profit, then any amount of debt equity ratio is fine. Ultimately, the business should have the ability to service the debt, to pay the interest on time, to repay the loan as per the schedule. How can you do that? You can do that only when your EBITDA is good. So this is how, friends, you will look at your debt equity ratio. Then you also look at, friends, your tangible versus the intangible assets. Any company will have tangible assets. We understand what is tangible assets. Something that you can touch, you can feel, you can see is a tangible asset. Intangible asset, contrary to it, something that you cannot touch, you cannot feel, you cannot see. So you also need to look at as to what is the component of tangible assets, what is the component of intangible assets. So intangible assets, you will need to really go deeper into it, whether those intangible assets are going to help the company generate more income, generate more profits. So if a company is having intangible assets in the form of design, technology, patent, then it's a good sign, because these intangible assets will help the company generate more sales and make more profit. And this is how you would look at the tangible and intangible assets. And friends, this is how you will do the balance sheet analysis. So friends, with this we come to the close of today's session.